Okay, so I haven't done one in a while, so let's do a movie review about a not terribly good movie and see where that goes. Alright. Okay, so recently I went to some video store, and I'm going to use air quotes there, video store, a store that had DVDs. There are no video stores anymore, not as such. And I found something really cheap. I actually found a lot of things really cheap there. And so far, none of them have been particularly amazing. But I want to talk about... Oh, let's pull up a little info here. I had a movie called Dark Mind. I don't even know how to start with this one. This is a... There's just no... There's not going to be any information about this Dark Mind movie. It was obscure. It was real obscure. It's from 2006? Actually, the box said 2007. Oh, that's odd. A very stylish film. In quotes. That's not quite the way I would put it. This movie was very forgettable. It was very, very forgettable. I don't know how to classify that. I'm like thinking, well, it was kind of a not action sort of drama. IMDb calls it a thriller. It was not a thriller. There were no thrills to be had. If it's a bad thriller, does it still count as a thriller? I mean, if you have an action film with no action in it, is it still an action film? Maybe the intent is... God, getting deep on this one already, and this movie does not warrant it. Dark Mind is, aside from the main star, it starred Christopher Masterson. You know, that guy. Christopher Masterson played the oldest kid from Malcolm in the Middle. He was the old one who was away at military college, and then he was on a ranch, and then he was in Alaska at one point. And this is a thing he did after that. This movie, I can't believe this got 6 out of 10 stars. It didn't warrant it. It really didn't. The problem with the movie... Yeah, he's been in much better stuff since then. Before and after. Shame on you, Paul. He played Paul in Dark Mind. Man, I really wanted to do a review on this, but I'm coming up blank. 6 Ways to Sunday. It's like, how do you even discuss this movie? Let's find out. Boy, this film. Okay. The thing about this film is it's supposed to be... Let's go with their intent. This is supposed to be a psychological, dramatic, thriller, sorta, kinda film. It wants to be an independent film. It badly wants to be an independent film. This movie would kill other independent films to be an independent film. And I don't think it succeeded. It wasn't... Low budget is not the same as independent. God, this movie is just confounding in so many ways. Like, I can't tell if this is obviously not a... God, I'm so curious about this film. That's why I kind of want to do a video on it. This is a film about... It takes place sometime during the Cold War, about a character named Paul. Paul's a young inventor. He gets on a TV show, and it's like, yes, I'm very thrilled that I will be inventing things, and I'm going to be an inventor and improve the human condition and make people better and make America great and blah, 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 blah. During a kind of McCarthy era. And let's get into that a little. The backdrop for this film is a McCarthy era, very Cold War. The premise is he's just becoming an inventor. He needs capital to make more inventions, but it turns out his father already patented and sold all of his inventions. So he tries to get money from the mob, then he's running from the mob. There's constant radio propaganda that is supposed to be a setting for this. What the fuck else happened in this damn movie? Let's just describe what the hell this movie's about first, before digging in. What the hell else happened? There's the implication that maybe he's going mad, or he probably almost certainly is going mad. He's blaming the communists, different branches of the United States government. Conspiracy theories abound. The character's losing his mind. He's not a very well-adjusted character who's getting further unadjusted. And he has this one invention he's making, the cube. It's never explained in the movie what the hell it is or does. There's a number of things that might be his imagination, maybe not. It's not clear. He feels very isolated and put upon. And if it sounds like I am totally struggling to tell you what this movie's about, it's not because it's like this movie was deep or anything like that. It wanted to be, but it wasn't. There really wasn't much going on. And that's it. I mean, there's the stupid plot thing at the end. There's sort of a romantic interest. He accidentally hits the romantic interest in his paranoia. There's some dead bodies thrown in, and an attempt at surrealism. And that's it. That's really all there is to this movie. So let's dissect and remove what we can and go from. What's confounding about this film is it clearly wanted to be a David Lynch film, in the sense that it wanted to throw in surrealist, disturbing imagery, odd continuity, deliberate discontinuity, psychological something, maybe? I don't know. It looked more like Copycat. Down to there's a midget bellboy. There's a creepy lady who's old in a wheelchair that's too big, and you don't care. I really don't care. I mean, I'm not fond of David Lynch in general. Like some of the stuff he's done to pieces, but by and large I think his stuff just comes off as a little too pretentious and over the top. Too much for me. Too silly and too meandery. This is neither here nor there. He does what he does way better than this film did. Also, this film had aspects of the Coen brothers. I'd almost go to say that this was an ambitious film. Sorta. It's somewhere between a Coen brothers film and a David Lynch film, but it has succeeded at neither. It was... I should explain that a little. David Lynch film, when he's really his thing, whether you like it or not, his thing is, shit is weird, you're thrown off balance by crazy imagery and dialogue. That's really eye-catching, that's really scene-grabbing. Like you're watching, it's like, this is really strange, and oh god, it got stranger. Coen brothers, on the other hand, a little harder to pin down because they've done so many genres, but they tend to be very good at tension, where and it's really interesting, they up the stakes, and then theoretically the stakes don't change, but they seem to be upped simply because of characterization. Like we learn more about the characters, like, oh, so this thing that's happening, these are bigger stakes because of the thing we've just learned about this person. Nothing's really changed for the characters on screen, but we, the audience, things have changed because of the way things have developed, because of things we've learned and have been revealed to us. Very cool. And they do it a lot. Like it's someone has to stop this by this time, and these are the reasons, and there's a thing going on, and we have to catch this before this date, or so and so is going to get married, or so and so is going to get divorced, or so and so is going to get shot. They're very good with timing and pacing. They're amazing at it. I mean, they are the masters as far as I'm concerned. I'm much fonder of Coen Brothers. This film wanted to do that. There are a lot of scenes where it reminded me of, like, Barton Fink, or I mean, there was a clear parallel there, or copy, sort of, crib notes from, whatever you want to call it. Not very effectively. In this film, the stakes are never presented well. Like, there's, he has to meet this date, but it kind of falls apart, and he kind of is saved by fate itself for no reason and no payoff. Like, there's scenes where he killed a guy accidentally, and the police are in his apartment, and they have a search warrant. It's built up to that point, and they're about to find it, but they just leave for no good reason. They find, like, a tiny piece of evidence that implies he hit someone, so they just leave. We had a search warrant. We found a tiny scrap of evidence, so we're going to run off now. We don't care. The Coen Brothers would do something like that. Only, well, this film, it just flopped. It was constantly like that. There was constantly, like, there's a thing that's gonna happen. It's gonna happen right now. Miraculous save for no reason. Hooray. And it's more annoying than anything else. So, this film wasn't weird enough to be a good David Lynch film, or David Lynch-esque film. It wasn't interesting enough or well put together enough to be a good Coen Brothers film, or Coen Brothers, knockoff. It's like it had sort of the right pieces, but they weren't assembled well. As far as, good old what's-his-face? Christopher Masterson. I think he did okay. The voice he chose was a little irritating. I don't know, the director and writer of this thing was Nicholas Peterson. And I mean, I'd be curious as to how this movie happened. It looks more like a vanity project, like someone more famous goes, I just saw the Coen Brothers, and I just saw, dear God, this guy's actually done stuff. Sorta. Oh. What the hell? Oh, this is a visual effects guy. So, yeah, he did visual effects in the Constantine movie and The Ring. So he's actually done stuff. He's actually been in stuff, but the stuff he's actually directed. So, okay, so this is a visual effects guy. Okay, yeah. And he hasn't... Yeah, and everything else he's done is short, so whatever. I mean, it's not... This isn't terrible, and that was the problem with it. If this movie were terrible and I were laughing at it the whole time, I would have at least been entertained. It was like, that was hilarious. It's just like, there's a thing that's going to happen, but there's not a lot of tension here, so I'm a little bored, and then it kind of, fate intervenes and nothing happens because of it. There's no, I was kind of bored before, now I don't care. And now movie, you've shown me that that's a thing that happens, so I'm just going to expect it now. Oh, look, here's something that sort of is intended to be tense for me to watch. I'm going to go out on a limb and assume nothing will happen because of this. Oh, look at that. Nothing happened because of this. So, that was my take. And that's all. God, it was frustrating. It was a very frustrating film. Because the right touches Okay, I'll just say it. Better director could have made this film interesting. There. Someone directed Masterson better, wrote a better script, written and directed by the same guy, visual effects guy. Clearly, he had like this idea, and he knew some people because he's a film guy. And the Ring and Constantine were both fairly big films, so I could see him getting enough clout to give this a stab. Yeah, I mean that's the gist of it. It's somewhere between Coen Brothers and David Lynch was what he was shooting for. The problem is both of those things aren't visual. Like his actual visual setups aren't bad, all things considered. There's a few scenes. There's a doorway scene at the end. I'd say something like spoilers, but one, this movie's from 2007, 2008. Two, it wasn't very good, and I guarantee you'll never see it. So whatever. Don't go see it. If you see this in the bin and you get kind of interested, don't buy it. It's not worth it. It's really not. I mean, my reviews are very simple and straightforward. What are the odds that you're going to see this and not like it? Pretty damn good. It's not entertaining. It's not bad enough to be funny and it's slow paced, which is always deadly. If you're not entertaining and your pace is slow, ooh, that's bad. Because a movie can be kind of a bad movie, but fast paced, it was kind of not that great, but it went quickly and stuff happened. This film, it just meanders on with him not building a thing, then building it and then taking it apart. It's just like, whatever, I don't care. Because we never know what the cube does, we don't care. I mean, it needed something, a better director and a better writer. That's what killed this film. What are the odds you'll see it and not like it? I'll give you 9 out of 10. I can't imagine anyone seeing this thing and just going, wow, this was great. Or, this is pretty good. The performances were not great. They weren't very believable. Masterson was fine, except that he had this weird affectation, like this was his weird dopey voice. And that was annoying. It was annoying more than convincing. So, and everyone else was weak in it. It was weak sauce all around. What is the other half of my review? Do I want to see this movie? How long would it take me to see this movie again? Do I want to see it again? Fuck no. Oh my god, I wouldn't want to sit through this. Like, some films are bad and you can kind of MST3K, riff tracks, just make fun of them, and that's kind of fun with friends. This is not one of those films. It's just, there's just not enough going on. It's not silly enough. It's not pretentious enough for you to mock it properly. And it's so strange. And that's why I wanted to do a review, because it's kind of strange. It's like it's ambitious theoretical. It's theoretically ambitious, but not actually ambitious, I guess is what I'm saying. Theoretically, I'm going to ape the styles of Coen Brothers and David Lynch, those types of movies. Whew, that's a big, tall order, Mr. Visual Effects guy. But yet the execution, it's like, there's doesn't really go anywhere, and there's not that many characters, and none of them are terribly interesting. Absolutely none of them. There's like this Russian professor guy who's sort of a character. I couldn't describe any of these characters. The girl, the main character, the Russian scientist guy, the mobsters, the detectives. None of them have real characters. They don't. They have an appearance and they have things they say. They don't really have a character. No one does. So very weak characterization. Slow pacing for a movie that's only 81 minutes long. I guess that's all I want to say. I don't want this to be drawn out. That's me. I'm out.